Hi, I'm Andrew Flowers, Chief Economist at Appcast, here to bring you the Recruitonomics review of the June 2025 U.S. Jobs Report. Bottom line numbers are, we added 147,000 new jobs last month, and the unemployment rate ticked down to 4.1%. While this was a strong jobs report, no doubt, we argue that underneath the surface, it is more normal than it appears. So let's dive into the data. First, the headline payroll employment change, the 147,000 new jobs, that was higher than the consensus expectation for around 125,000 jobs to be added. But what surprised me even more were the upward revisions to the prior 2 months. So April and May employment levels were revised up by 16,000 total. That's a reversal of the trends we had seen through the May jobs report, which tended to be downward revisions. That had concerned me in the May jobs report. Now I feel a little bit more confident that the labor market is rock solid. And you see here the 3 and 6 month moving averages, these two lines over the columns here. It basically tells you that the trend of job growth is holding steady. Over the last 3 months, we're adding roughly 150,000 jobs each month. So that's very strong. But when we look under the hood, so to speak, of these figures, one thing that stood out to us in the June report was that oddly, the state government education sector added 40,000 jobs across the nation. So all the state government education employees went up very strongly. You see this figure here. It's a bit of an anomaly. And this is in June, right, of all months. So this may have something to do with seasonal adjustment challenges by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So even though if you were to discount this figure of 40,000 jobs in state education jobs, it's still a pretty strong jobs report. It would basically put the overall figure right in line with expectations. So that's what we mean when we say that this is a bit more normal than the strong figure suggests. But normal is good. And one of the reasons we see normality is in the industry composition, right? We see, once again, healthcare and also restaurants to some extent are continuing to lead the way. So healthcare and social assistance added 58,000 jobs in June. And overall, just the trend here, the 3 month moving average is very robust. The leisure and hospitality sector, which again kind of includes mostly restaurants, added 20,000 jobs. Quite strong. Construction had a good month. Once again, 15,000 jobs. And then when we look on the weaker industries side of things, right, professional and business services shed 7,000 jobs. And that's been a kind of continual trend in recent months. Manufacturing also shed 7,000 jobs. So those are some of the weaker sectors. So overall, I think the industry composition, other than that state education government job sector, looks right on to be solid. So the next kind of key takeaway we have is that the unemployment rate fell to 4.1%. Now, one of the concerns a lot of economists had going into this jobs report was that the crackdown in immigration from the Trump administration would lead to a shrinking labor supply. And yes, the labor force did shrink a bit in June, but that this shrinking of foreign-born workers would lead to a slowdown in hiring. Well, that hasn't really materialized. Right now we have a really low unemployment rate, and I think the last point we want to emphasize to you all, and this comes from a new series we're running on Recruitonomics about the Trump administration's immigration impacts, is that this could just be starting, right? We look at the data, and my colleague Julius Probst estimates that the total cumulative impact of the Trump administration on the labor force, both through lower undocumented or illegal immigration, as well as deportations and perhaps lower visa issuances, so lower legal immigration, that combined, this could lower the U.S. labor force by between 640,000 and 960,000 are kind of our medium estimates here. So the Trump administration's immigration policy impacts could have a huge impact in the months to come on the labor market. But overall, through June, the U.S. labor market continues to just chug along and is quite strong. So with that, check out the full report on recruitonomics.com, and thank you for watching. Bye.